I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber from Kyuujin Cosplay, and today we are back again, guys, with Zero, episode 12.
Sanju. Last episode was so fucking creepy.
So confusing.
So Beatrice has been wishing for death for years. She thinks that Subaru might be the one that is supposed to free her. Not that she cares or has hope for it to happen, because at this point, like, she's given up. It's a very sad thing that happened last episode with her. She saved Subaru from Elsa, who surprisingly survived a deathly attack by Beatrice.
How can you kill that bitch?
We learned that the little girl with the dog in season 1, and then it was the other assassin.
Shocking.
Fuck. That was like, I don't know how to react to this. We've got someone else to deal with. Someone else we were supposed to care about. More problems. Subaru lost an eye and all that shit. He went back to, well, he was sent back to the sanctuary, and he found a crazy, disturbing Emilia, who was cast out. She's got no one else, so she basically fell back 100% on Subaru. It was so disturbing, we thought it was Satella for a sec, which doesn't look good.
Nope.
We got out of there, it was snowing, Roswell had made it snowed. He killed Garfield and Ram, and like, he's been following a book too, kind of like Beatrice, and he said that everything he was doing, even as shitty as it was to fulfill one wish, which we don't know what it is yet.
And we probably will never know.
Maybe not now, but still. He basically allowed himself to be killed, and Subaru died later because of the bunnies. It was a crazy episode. I don't think Roswell is a bad guy, but I still don't trust him because he can do so much stuff for Subaru and then turn around and do something else, you know, that's...
He might not be a bad guy, but we can definitely not count on him to help us.
Well, no, that's the thing. We don't know enough. We need to know what his wish is to understand a character, and then we can, you know, assume stuff about Roswell. So we'll see, but yeah, let's just see how this new timeline goes for Subaru. It never gets easier. Like, he was willing to die over and over again to learn as much as possible and then do stuff accordingly, but seeing his loved ones die every time is still not easy, so...
No, indeed.
So let's jump in this episode and hopefully he's okay. Let's go.
He won't be okay. Well, our body is sealed away, but not our mind.
Yeah, but
I think not our mind.
Well, obviously not. Like, her mind is not sealed if she can, you know, possess Emilia and now show up at the tea party. She is.
She reminds me a bit of Maleficent. The only one who wasn't invited to
the party.
The party, so she's pissed.
Okay, so that's gonna be an interesting episode next week. But
we have been fooled by Echidna. We thought, well, we knew that she was a witch, but she seemed like a nice witch.
We did not. I never really, you know, saw her as a nice person. You know, I always kept a lack of trust towards her, you know? She is a witch. Like, when we first met her, we were like, fuck, like, she's bad news. And then she turned out to be so nice. And even though, like, she portrayed everything that she did as malicious or something, there was always a purpose beyond it that Subaru saw that was good. Kind of like the first trial, you know? She made it seem like it was torture and everything, and she played around with how he saw his parents, but then he was like, no, you know what? Thank you for allowing me to say goodbye to them. You know, he saw beyond what she did, but we never really trusted her because she is a witch, and she is, we talked about this before, but with the other girls, you know, and especially with Satella, but, I mean, that doesn't mean she can't be controlled by her sin either. And now we got to see her true colors. She is, like, the sin is present in everything that they do, everything that they are. It's overtaking them. With Echidna, with greed, she wants everything, despite, you know, what it might do to others. Like, she wants to learn everything. She wants to see everything. She's curious. Curiosity is really her sin. It makes sense in that way that Subaru would be so appealing to her because he gets to do it all over again. You know, when you don't, death is the end of greed, if you think about it, because when you die, you don't learn anything else. You don't get anything else. So that's why she was trying to become immortal with the Ryuzu clones.
Yeah.
And with Subaru, she could basically share knowledge on a never-ending knowledge and a never-ending chance of always going back and learning stuff. But that, he was considering taking that contract because it would mean maybe he would have, kind of like she did before, a hand on his shoulder, someone to support him if it got too crazy. That's how she made it seem, when he was losing it after the second trial. She gave him an out, something that made him feel comforted and something to help him stand up. But that's really not what she would have done in the future, because she wants the possibility to go back and see everything, no matter how much that makes him suffer, no matter how many times other people will have to die. She doesn't give a shit about that. That's really the greed speaking. It is disturbing because she was the only one Subaru, saw as an actual helping hand that knew about his secret. And now he cannot count on her because everything that she does is fueled by a selfish need to learn more. That's why she did Beatrice,
that's really
so bad like that.
That's really disappointing though, because it was nice.
It would have been nice to have her
in her corner to help Subaru achieve his many attempts at saving everyone.
Well, she could. I mean, she technically is in our corner, but to have her genuinely be in our corner for good reasons and not just a selfish need to have everything. Yeah. I'm not mad at her because at the same, we knew she was the witch of greed, and if we are willing to give Satella a benefit of the doubt that she was overtaken by her sin and she lost herself because of that sin, we also have to give Echidna that same benefit of the doubt that at the core it's not so much that she's a bad person, but she doesn't realize that what she's doing is bad. It's her sin that's taking over, unfortunately. So it's a blow. It's a blow, but at the same time, like, Subaru managed to realize his mistake thanks to the other witches before he made it, so that's not going to be too bad. What really is mean to me is what happened to Beatrice because of this, because basically she never really had an intention to set her free of her. Like, Beatrice always had the power to set herself free, and she never did, because it's kind of because they took the same situation a different way. Like, Echidna saw it as, whenever you find that person, take that person and free yourself.
Yeah, but Beatrice misunderstood Echidna's word.
Like, she expected, it's almost like, when you expect something to happen that's going to be different. Like, someday that person is going to come in and everything is going to change.
Yeah.
But then the change needs to start from you, So, and because, like, Echidna, they said it, she doesn't tell everything, she doesn't say everything. It was the same with Beatrice.
She's like the small little character at the bottom that you cannot quite read, but that does tell you everything that you need to know, that you need to be careful about.
And it's because of her curiosity, she wants to see how people are going to react, how they are going to, what they're going to do with that contract and what they're going to do with the possibilities that are given to them. In Beatrice's case, it's really sad because it left her alone and wanting to die, and then, But now that Subaru knows this, maybe it's going to help with saving her later. In any case, it's still a blow because it means that we're losing someone we thought was genuinely going to help. I don't feel sad or mad or anything because, like I said, we should have seen this coming. Like, she was the witch of greed. Like, there's no surprise there that greed is intense. That greed is there. Fucking Gluttony created three beasts in order to follow, a good thing that turned into a bad thing, but she doesn't see the bad thing. She just acts, according to her sin. So no surprise there that Echidna's doing the same thing. And we met the Witch of Sloth and the Witch of Lust. Yep. It's an interesting take, especially, like, lust makes a lot of sense. It's basically, sometimes we would see lust as someone who is in power, uses sex and attractiveness and stuff as her power to lure in people and be a lord over them, manipulate people because she's in control, because lust is usually something that can be used against you, when you get manipulated by your own feelings and stuff. But to have lust be the one manipulated, be the one that that gives in to everyone else. That's very interesting. It's a very interesting take on the sin. She's basically everything. She's a servant to
Faceless bride.
Well, yeah,
that's why
faceless bride.
Not called her.
Exactly. She basically gives. She's never herself. She never gets it. That lusting after something is also wanting like if you think about it, a lot of these sins are wanting something that you will never get.
Yeah.
Always wanting something. Well, lusting after something is wanting something over and over again and wanting to taste that thing. But since she is lust, I'm guessing that she never gets it. You know, she always represents that sin. So she can never really be the one people want because she represents the need itself, not the object of the need. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but she is the servant. The way they portrayed her, she's the one that changes to accommodate everyone's feelings and wants, and she will do anything to please you and stuff. So she is the servant, which makes, you know, it's interesting because usually I see her as the master. Lust is the master in many other movies and TV shows I've seen the sin in.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of people sometimes who do anything to please people who are around themselves, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, keep going.
No, but you know, it's like people who would want who's gonna accommodate themselves and just try to do anything in their power to just...
Like, please love me. If I do this, please love me. It's basically that. Which is sad. Interesting. And sloth, like, I like sloth.
She was so tired after every sentences go, really? Okay.
A very, like, the way I took it, because sloth, I said it before, sloth has always been the sin I understood the least. You know, it's always so wide, you know, the spectrum of what we can do with sloth and what sloth can represent depending on how you interpret it. In this, what I saw is a girl who's basically a neutral spectator to what happens to life, to history and stuff. Never getting involved, never taking sides, because she lacks passion, she lacks motivation, she lacks personal interests. If you think about it, like that could maybe be sloth. I mean, that's how I took the character here. She showed up without taking sides. She doesn't support anyone. She just states the things as they are. And then she lacks passion for any of those things. So she's just an observer. So that's interesting. In a way, though, that might make her like the most reliable witch in there if you think about, you know, getting your facts straight. We need to see more of her. But now we've got Satella to deal with, so that's going to be something else. I wanted to talk a little bit about the trial, what you think the trial might be.
Okay, if we think about it, the first trial was to face something that you feel guilty about deep down.
Your past.
Your past, yeah.
Face your past and be okay with it. To move on. Not leave the past behind in order to focus on the future, which turned out to be a good thing.
Oh, okay. So the first one was about the past. The second was about the present.
So the third one might be about the
future. Okay, now I understand it. Thank you.
But weirdly enough, like, despite how hard it is to go through these trials, because it basically puts you on the spot, it makes you, you know, ask questions about yourself, and you know, it makes you confront your own feelings about the person that you are. Subaru is seeing this in a way, and I saw it in a completely different way. He's seeing it as many failures. He's seeing it as, oh, I died so many times, and every time I left them, you know, to suffer and die because I wasn't there to support them. Because Subaru wants to be everywhere all the time. He wants to be the hero. Well, not necessarily the hero, but he wants to be the hero that saves everyone. Yeah. He thinks that if he doesn't do it, no one else is going to do it. That was a problem in season 1. It's a problem in season 2. But I saw it more as, you know, every time you die, look at what the people say. Like, listen to what the people say about you, how they care about you. He's valued everyone else's life so much that he stopped valuing his own. And I think that's the problem. I think that's something he needs to understand in the second trial, because he needs to value himself. And that's his problem right now. He sees himself as a failure, as a nobody, someone that Emilia could not possibly love. Like last episode, that's how he understood that it wasn't Emilia, because she loved him, and she would never say something like that to a person like him, right? It's a very unhealthy way to see himself, and that's why I think he understands what he saw as failures. Where to me, I'm like, look at what you did and how you made connections with these people, how they trust you and how they love you and how they wish they could spend more time with you, and stop throwing your life away. This is one thing that we didn't really talk about, but when he decided, and he's done that before, but whenever he decides to die as many times as necessary in order to learn how to face these situations, he's basically overlooking his own trauma, his own experience, and his own life to value someone else's.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy, and I think this is what he needs to realize. His life is important, and he needs to do as much as he can to make it worth living for him, not just throw it away to save people, You matter, man. He matters, and his feelings matter.
Echidna, this is something that, since his power came from the Witch of Envy, there's no way to know for sure that those possible present did not happen. And after his death, people still continue living, And when you think about it, technically it is, and so many people already said that before, but for example, kind of really, but with people who committed suicide, for example, one of the things that we say over and over again is, even if you're not there anymore, the people who care about you are still there, and they continue living. They will suffer after your death, And for that,
that's how he sees it. That's how he sees it, which is, like, to me, especially since he didn't actually die, but he's got the power to control, not necessarily control, but he can choose to die and go back, but he doesn't think about how it's going to affect people, because he doesn't think he matters to them, because he doesn't think he deserves their love.
And it is true that we don't know for sure if he technically really goes back in time and that timeline just ceased to exist, or if they continue to move on in time,
And in any case, kind of like Echidna said, no matter what the motivation behind it was, I mean, he tries, he sees this as all his failures and all the people that died because of him not being strong enough, but he refuses to see the people that he saved because he was strong enough. That's also something that he could maybe learn from this. Try to switch your lens a little bit, try to see it from another angle. You may not have succeeded in saving everyone, but you did save some people, and it mattered. It left them with memories of you and feelings and emotions that are going to carry them through your death and past your death, and they're going to keep on living because of you. So that's important.
It's really harsh to accept the fact that in life you cannot save everyone. You might be able to save a lot of people, but not everyone.
Every hero needs to go through this.
Yeah, even in every comic books or superhero movie or anything, or even real life, it is impossible to save everyone.
It's kind of like a hero complex.
It is a harsh truth, but it is a truth nonetheless.
Yeah, he needs to, sit down a little bit and think about all of this. Hopefully he does, but now we need to focus on Satella. So we'll end this here, unless you have something else to talk about.
Nope.
So thank you guys so much for watching this episode with us. If you want to see the next one right away, it is on Patreon already. You can check it out if you want. The link is in the description.
And if you don't, you go with the next one to be out on YouTube, which will be next week. So you're gonna see you then, guys.
Bye.